Welcome, everybody. It is time for Talkback, sponsored by Bitterroot Motors, doing it right for more than 41 years. Temp Ride Service, call Teen Blues, 728-1111. The Mustard Seed Restaurant and Selway Armory, Montana's premier firearms dealer, where they stock a full line of reloading components, located on Stockyard Road. Check them out at selwayarmory.com. Okay, the day has arrived. John King, our show producer. John, I'm going to let you take it away, my man.
Yeah, we have Robert O'Neill, the man who shot Osama bin Laden, on the radio with us this morning. And it is such an honor and a blessing for him to be with us. And we have lots of great questions, but before we get too far,
yes,
very important question, got to get out of the way. You've answered some questions that might have put your life at risk, and this one might be one of those questions. You're from Butte, so we don't know exactly where you stand, but we have the Brawl of the Wild coming up. Are you a Grizz fan or a Cat fan?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. And, I'm from Butte, Montana, which is good. I have to tell you I'm a Grizz fan, which is nice because I've been through a lot in my career, and I would hate to have my life ended in Missoula. So I am being honest. And,
well,
I still have nothing but love for Bozeman. But, we're a Grizz family.
Well, because I have seen some of your Twitter photos with Grizz wear, so I was hoping that was a pretty safe bet.
Yeah, good. You're
Excellent.
correct.
Well, but we didn't bring you all this way from New York City to talk to us about being a Grizz or a Cat fan. Of course, you are the man. You've been literally all over the world media with what happened with the death of Osama bin Laden. First of all, tell us why you wanted to become a Navy SEAL in the first place.
I wanted to. Well, I didn't actually grow up wanting to be a Navy SEAL. I kind of became a Navy SEAL by luck. And I found in my career that a lot of things have happened just being in the right place at the right time. I actually became a Navy SEAL because the Marine recruiter was not in the office. I went to join the Marine Corps. I wanted to be a sniper, and he wasn't there. And I knew the Navy guy was. I went over to the Navy guy, and he asked me, well, why do you want the Marine? And I said, well, I want to be a sniper. And he said, well, we have snipers in the Navy. And I didn't believe him, and he said, hang on, in the Navy we have SEALs. And Navy SEALs have snipers. And so I'm standing in front of him, 19 and kind of naive, and I'm like, I've never heard of this before, but this guy's a recruiter. Why is he going to lie to me? I'll just become one of these SEAL things. How hard can that be?
Oh, boy.
Yeah. So we found out real quick that it was hard, but it was worth it. It helped growing up in Montana for a couple of reasons. One, the altitude helped me with I could breathe better down at sea level, and just the Montana attitude had never quit.
I wanted to ask you, this is the thing that just stuns me, finding out that you have a family. I heard all the headlines about the man who shot bin Laden, but going off on a mission where you don't think you're coming back and knowing that you have kids and family back home, how do you deal with that? How do the other guys deal with that?
Well, it was tough every time because every time you go to war, you have to kiss your kids goodbye. And that could be the last time, and both you and the kid are aware of it. And there's just such a difference between kissing your kid goodnight and kissing your kid goodbye. So you got strong with it there, but then on the bin Laden mission, we knew we weren't coming back. So that was a tough one. That was a hard part, saying goodbye. I mean, literally saying goodbye, and as you're walking away, you're looking at your kid for the last time. And then, even right before the mission, writing letters to all of your family, just saying, I didn't make it, but the cause was noble, and you will understand. But writing those letters is hard. And then on that mission, we couldn't even give it to one of my brothers, another SEAL, because they were all going to die too. So I had to find someone that I could trust, and I couldn't tell them what the mission was. But I'm like, I'm doing something now. Here's this big manila envelope full of letters and instructions on what to do with them. But if you see me in about 5 hours, give it back, and I'm going to take them right to the shredder.
How many kids do you have? How old are they?
You know what? I don't want to talk about my kids too much. I'm trying to keep them out of the public.
I understand.
And the only reason I mention them is
Gotcha.
because that, I've said them in speeches and it's kind of online, but I don't like to get into them at all.
You got it.
Well, fair enough. One of the other things, one of the most touching things to me was when you're in the house, you're about to take on Osama bin Laden, and you find that little girl there. Can you go over some of the family life that you noticed inside that home? And what it was like as a SEAL to see a child on the other side of the world of the greatest enemy of the United States of America. Just how do you respond to that as a father?
Well, we had this was not the first mission that we did, and I'd personally been on about 400 plus before this mission in different parts of the world. So we were accustomed to seeing kids on target, and I'm fortunate because I've never seen a kid get hurt, and that has a lot to do with me being sane, semi-sane. But on this one in particular, the girl downstairs that I moved to another place to another woman, and I saw Osama bin Laden's very young son, probably 2 years old, in his bedroom after I killed Osama bin Laden. There is, obviously a fraternal instinct, and you want to protect the kids always because we are the good guys, and that's just the end of the day we are. But I remember thinking, we don't want to be these kids. We don't want these kids to be any more afraid than they already are because they have had nothing to do with any of this.
And one of the things too that stuck out to me, you're going down the hall. Well, if you could just rehearse that moment right before you find out that you've killed Osama bin Laden. What was it like going down that hallway?
Well, we actually we killed them at the top of the stairs going from the second floor to the third floor. And I was actually in the back of the line. We call it a train. So I was in the back of the train, but it's actually just a line of guys going up. I was the entire mission in the back. And I was able to see really cool guys do really cool stuff. And then it just so happened going up to the third floor, because guys had gone off to either side of the second floor to clear the other rooms, I turned into the second man going up. There was only two of us that went up the stairs. There were people behind. There was a curtain at the top of the stairs. And we went up the stairs through the curtain. The guy in front of me kind of moved. There were people behind the curtain that were moving, and we assumed they were putting on suicide vests. So he kind of tackled them. They turned out to be females. He pushed them down the hallway and laid on top of them, and he did that because he was going, he knew they were going to blow up, and he was trying to absorb that blast of the guy behind him to get a shot off. When he did that, I turned to the right, and then I went into a doorway, a door that was open into a bedroom. When I turned that right into the doorway, standing a few feet in front of me, on 2 feet was the face that I'd seen so many times before. It was Osama bin Laden, and he was standing behind his wife with his hands on her shoulder, and they were sort of moving toward my direction. And just because he wasn't surrendering, he was a threat. I assumed he had a suicide vest on, so I shot him in the face twice. He fell on the floor, and I shot him again in the face, and then it didn't sink in because the woman was still alive, obviously, and so was the child. I had to move them to the bed and sit her on the bed, him on the bed. And then when I turned around, and other SEALs were in the room at this time, so it was a matter of seconds. It kind of sunk in that I just shot Osama bin Laden.
What?
And go ahead.
Oh, I was going to ask you. You said he had his hands on his wife's shoulders. Was he using her as a human shield?
It could have been. He could have been. I don't know what was going through his mind, but that's what I saw him doing. So he was right behind her with his hands on his shoulders, and they weren't moving really fast because it was so dark, but he was definitely doing something.
Well, now, Rob, this is Peter Christian. Obviously, you just had split seconds, and that's really the essence of what you folks do is making split-second decisions, and you've had years of training to do that. Once that moment was over, and you'd cleared the scene, and you made sure everything was shipshape, and you had to do the very difficult job of extracting your team. And I'm assuming I'm assuming Bin Laden's body as well. So how did that go?
After we cleared what we could out of the rooms as far as finding computers and hard drives and disks, once we were ready to go, I didn't help with the getting him in a body bag, but I did go upstairs and assist 3 other SEALs, and we carried him out down the sets of stairs out front, and then had him ready to go on the helicopter he was going to leave on. And then I was going to leave on another helicopter. So I put this is interesting. I don't think I've told anybody this. We put the body down by one of the snipers who was outside, and that sniper happened to be the lead sniper that shot the Somali pirates when we rescued Richard Phillips. And we set him down, and all I said to him was, "That's your guy." And then we went over to where we were going to extract, and a different helicopter flew in to get us. We got on board, and then we flew towards the Pakistan border. And we knew it was an 80-minute flight in, so it's probably an 80-minute flight out, especially going that direction. So we just started our watches, and we're flying away. And as time ticked on, and we're getting to 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes in, we're starting to look around and realize, okay, we might live. We might live. And then about, it was a 90-minute flight. So then 85 minutes into a 90-minute flight, we heard someone say over the radio, "All right, gentlemen, for the first time, you're going to be happy to hear this. Welcome to Afghanistan." And that's when it hit us, and that's when you get a couple high fives, and we're like, "Oh my God, we just did this."
One real quick question for you, and that is, and I'm not sure if this is classified information, if you're allowed to share it. What happened to bin Laden's body?
They brought him out to the Arabian Gulf to a ship called the USS Vincennes, and then they buried him at sea.
They did.
Do you feel that was the thing to do? I mean, do you have any regrets over the way he was disposed of?
Absolutely. Yep. They needed to, because we're the good guys, get rid of him in a respectful way, and now there's not a shrine for anyone to go to.
I have one last question for you, and we're going to go to phones. And
awesome.
They are all full. So last question is this. After you've come out, there's been some criticism, and there's, I'm sure, been applause. Can you just tell us some of the feedback that you've been getting about coming open on this story?
Well, especially from your fellow SEALs.
And have you received any blowback from the federal government?
I have the SEALs with whom I'm still in touch have been supportive. Some disagree, some agree. They're just really good guys. The ones I haven't heard from, I'm sure there's negativity out there, and I respect their points of view because they're all alpha males, and they're gonna what they think and what they say is always right. So I'm sure there's some opinions. No, but it's been good. I try to stay positive, and most of the feedback that I've gotten has been positive. And as far as the government and the Pentagon go, they've been good to me. I respect their opinion. I'm not an expert on a lot of the operational security stuff. As far as what they consider, and I respect their opinion. They've been good. There has been no blowback there, and we hope it remains that way. And I'm going to continue to say what I'm saying and not get into stuff that's classified just isn't talked about, and I'm not talking about.
Have you Have you received any accolades from heads of state, former presidents, Mr. Bush, for example?
Yeah, I received a handwritten letter from President Bush, and I have a patch that I wore on the mission specifically for him, and I'm going to give it to him soon. President Obama was really happy with us. We carried a flag for him. We gave it to him, and rumor has it he hung it in his bedroom. It's a plaque. It's a plaque with a flag folded in it. I've talked to. I work in Washington quite a bit, and I actually met with some congressmen yesterday. They were very positive. They want to do selfies and all that stuff. And I have a lot of friends on the Hill, and it's been really good, and I hope it stays that way.
I lied to my listeners. I have one last big question.
Sure.
Do you want to run for Senate in 2016 so we can have 2 Navy SEALs in Congress?
No, I don't. I think that I've had my fair share of scrutiny, and I think running for office just brings out a lot of bad stuff. So if I ever run for office, it will not be in 2016.
All right. Let's get to the phone. Now, what we've done, we have cleared out our commercials for this half hour so we can spend the entire time with Rob O'Neill. Don't tell my boss, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Let's get Kathy.
I was going to say, Peter, if you need me to plug anything for sponsors.
What I do want you to say is, this is Rob O'Neill, and you're listening to Talkback on KGVO. Can you do that for us?
Yeah, you need to say the call letters one more time.
KGVO.
Okay, George Victor Oscar. This is Rob O'Neill on KGVO, the voice of the Montana Grizzlies. Go ahead.
This is Rob O'Neill on KVGO. That's a suit. I screwed it up. Sorry.
KGVO. That's all right. The more we repeat this, the better it is for our audience.
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
The pen. I'm going to write this down because I got a million things going on here.
No idea how important this is.
But the good news is this is in Montana, and most people like it.
Amen, brother.
Say it one more time. Sorry.
Okay.
What is it? Say it again.
KGVO.
Yeah.
I would have screwed that up. Okay, I'm ready.
Go ahead.
Okay, this is Rob O'Neill on KGVO, the voice of the Montana Grizzlies.
Woo-hoo!
Perfect. All right, let's go to college. Let's get Catherine on the line. Hi, Catherine.
Good morning. Well, John, you asked both of my questions. So I guess the only thing I'm going to say is thank you for your service, Rob. We are very proud of you.
Catherine, I really appreciate you saying that. Anything positive that I get, feedback, that means the world, especially from the great state of Montana.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Catherine. All right, we have Tyler on the line. Tyler, you're on with Rob O'Neill. Go ahead.
For God and country, Geronimo.
That's very true, Tyler. I'm glad you know those words. Those are that was something when those were spoken. Quite a day for us. Quite a day for America.
Yes, sir, it was. My question to you is, when I got out in 2010, there was still a $10 million reward for the head of Osama bin Laden. Do you think that that's ever going to pay out?
First of all, thank you for your service. It's always great to talk to other vets. No, I don't think that. I think that reward money doesn't go anywhere because we were part of the government, just the extension of what the U.S. government is capable of doing. Anyway, I haven't been contacted. If they say they're going to give it to some of us, I would not turn it down.
Well, now I understand that. Well, Tyler, anything else?
I just want to thank you for finishing the finishing the job that so many of us started back in 2001, and you're a great American, and I'm proud to have spoken with you. Thank you.
Thanks, Tyler. Appreciate the call.
Thanks, Tyler. I really appreciate that, and just on that, it was just such an honor to be a part of such a great team that was fortunate enough to be called to do that mission, because it was a team effort from 9/11 forward.
Now, let me ask you this. I understand that you are now a motivational speaker, right?
That's correct. Yeah, I work with my agency, this place called Leading Authorities, and that's in Washington, D.C. And I've been speaking now for 2 years, just going around the country and giving just talks about some of our missions, that we were successful and why we were successful, and just giving talk about how everything that we did actually can relate to the private sector, be it running business or working in a mine or in sales or in pharmaceuticals or anything like that. Just that everything basically comes down to people skills, and how well you treat your people will result in success.
Well, now, aside from appearing on KGVO, which has to be the greatest feather in anyone's cap,
the highlight of my career.
What is the first of all, the coolest place you've ever spoken, and the most unusual?
The coolest place that I spoke was actually it wasn't a cool place. It was just a cool crowd. It was actually in Washington, D.C., which is a great city. But I spoke to a group called the Tiffany Circle for the American Red Cross, and what that is a group of women who donate at least $10,000 a year to the Red Cross. So I was in a room just with very successful women, and I actually wrote a speech just about the history of the Red Cross with people like the founder Clara Barton and all those just powerful women, a lot of nurses in my family, and just to be in a room like that it was just really cool. And I got to speak before Trace Atkins, so I hung around and watched him. That was pretty neat.
Cool.
Yeah, he's a great guy, and he's a mountain of a man, and he let me know backstage, very friendly, that he wasn't afraid of me. That's pretty funny.
So what's the most unusual place you've ever spoken?
So let's try to think. The most unusual. I'm trying to think. Oh boy. I'm
sure every place is different. Yeah.
Well, it's hard to say. I get to Las Vegas a lot, and those are just most of the unusual experiences.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to say because everywhere that I speak, it's usually some sort of an event for big companies where they bring everybody in. So it's always a fun place.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. I gave a speech in Virginia Beach where SEAL Team 6 is last week after my name had been released, and that was the first speech I'd given where people knew who I was. So my message was pretty good, but the whole time I'm up there, I'm wondering when I'm going to get shot. Because I didn't know the response I'd get yet, but it turned out to be very positive. I had a wonderful time, and Virginia Beach is a great city. I've lived there for a long time, and we had the Virginia Beach Police Department. They're great people, so that wasn't unusual, but it definitely sticks out.
That's very cool. We have a question on Facebook for you from Claire. She wants to know why you're coming out with your story now, and it has been a while since the shooting. So tell us why now.
Well, there wasn't going to be a now. There was never going to be a now. It was a poorly kept secret, but there wasn't a big hullabaloo, if you will. But I donated my shirt and the flag patch that was on that shirt that I wore into the bedroom when I shot Osama bin Laden, and I donated to the 9/11 Memorial Museum. And I was only going to donate it and have it be anonymous and just give a piece of history to the museum. But when I was there, it was arranged for about 20 or 25 9/11 families that had lost a family member on 9/11, and they asked me to give like an impromptu speech. So I started talking to them, and then the more that I saw the reaction and the real tears, there wasn't. Everybody in the room was crying, and there were people with their hands in their heads in their hands, and their heads tilted back and sobbing. And the more I talked, the more I realized, well, they need to hear the whole story. So I told them the whole story, and then I had a woman tell me that my team didn't just close a chapter in the book. We closed the whole book. And she looked me in the eyes and said, "I'm not afraid anymore." And then there was more of that, and I realized that if I can affect 25 families positively like this, it would be irresponsible of me not to try to help as many families as I possibly can. And so I decided I need to tell the story because a lot of these families need a real face and a real name to tell them that this guy is dead.
That long night. That long nightmare is over, right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell you what,
and like I said, when we went on this mission, we did it for the innocent people that jumped to their deaths on purpose because it was better than burning alive. And the mission was bigger than us, and it still is. It's bigger than us. It's not about one guy.
Now, Rob, we're talking with Rob O'Neill, the man who shot Osama bin Laden, a Butte native, Grizz fan, we found out earlier. And the question I want to ask you now, as you hear what ISIS, the newest resurgence of Al-Qaeda, is doing, especially to Americans, as a former Navy SEAL, we've already spoken with Ryan Zinke about this, who was just recently elected to Congress. How do you feel America should be responding to this?
Well, I mean, it's a big problem, and it's a hard-nosed ideology, and they're obviously very serious. They're savvy, and they are aware that we do not feel like getting in another ground war with these people, so they're just sort of taunting us, and obviously they're beheading Americans. So my first piece of advice to Americans is don't go to Syria. That's a bad spot. Don't go to Iraq right now. That's just for civilians. They can be handled because we have dealt with these guys. I personally have dealt with these guys before. They had another name. They called themselves Al-Qaeda in Iraq, AQI, and they were run by a guy by the name of Abu Musab al-Zarqawi, and he's dead now, by the way. We killed him. We can do the same thing to these guys now. It's just a question of doing it the right way. We fought these guys, and they are not tough, I assure you.
What is the right way?
Well, it's going to take a lot of different brains to come up with a plan. We need to do a little bit more militarily, and we need to keep up with the airstrikes. I think that eventually we will put boots on the ground, but we need to shift it a little bit. We don't need to go in there and rebuild countries and build these big bases where people walk around and get coffee and all this crap. We need to. We'll probably need to jump some people in. They need to, do some Spartan living for a while, and then deal with the fighting age males, and eventually win over the support. I mean, it wouldn't take long, I think, to win over the support of the locals because they're afraid too. And then at the end of the day, this 300-year war it can be ended through education. And somehow we need to convince a lot of these people over there that you can't teach kids how to cut off heads when they're 3 years old. We need to have someone get into the madrasas and into the mosques and try to convince somebody that we're going to need to live together, all of us.
Well,
I don't envy the guys making the decision, and there's no definite answer, but something needs to be done about that.
We only have a few minutes left, and I want to say, personally, you have made this story real for me. I almost feel like I'm speaking with Hector of Troy or Achilles or something, but this is almost like a mythological battle, down to two people. And the death of Osama bin Laden, it resonates with me a lot more than that grainy photo did before.
Right.
Before we go, there's a lot of 19-year-old boys out there, probably some younger, that may even be listening to this show right now. And a lot of them want to be Navy SEALs because of you. What would you tell them?
I would tell them to get better at pull-ups and to get better at running and take every warm shower you can for the rest of your life.
Because when you try out for the SEALs, it's all over, right?
It's just cold, and you never get used. I've had people tell me, to get ready, I am taking cold showers. And I'm like, yeah, you should go ahead and stop that today because that's horrible. It just sucks, and you never get used to the suck. So go home and have a warm shower right now.
What is the hardest part about being a SEAL?
The training or the mission?
Just the life.
The hardest part is being gone. We, especially at SEAL Team 6, we were gone 340 days a year. Because even when we're home, we're not home. We're training somewhere else in the United States, trying to get better at our tactics and learning how to effectively communicate with each other and things like that. So we're always, getting better at skydiving. We're getting better at shooting, all this stuff. So the hardest part is being away from family.
Tell you what, Rob, we're up against our final break here, and all of our sponsors are screaming, play my commercials. But I want to extend a personal invitation to you. If you are ever in Missoula for a Grizz game, okay, you are invited up to join me in the press box while I do my PA thing, and you can stand right next to me as we yell First Down Montana and be up there and see the whole thing. How's that?
That sounds like a plan, and I think we should definitely do it next year, and that would be an honor for me to be back there.
Well, we would absolutely love to have you, and again, God bless you for your service and for your bravery and your courage, and I think somebody had his hand on you while you were doing your mission and on your way back.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't talk about my faith in public, but I will tell you a lot of other people are praying for us for sure, and we will take that 7 days a week, so I appreciate everything.
Thanks, Rob. It's been a pleasure, and we look forward to talking with you again.
Awesome, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.